Hello and welcome to Satv's International Affairs. My name is Rashid Kanchon. I'll be your host, and at the studio I have a very distinguished panelist, Professor Zaman, former chairman and Professor International Relations, University of Dhaka. We have our International Affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, and from Islamabad we have Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodhi. He is a very distinguished defense and security conflict analyst from Pakistan. He will be joining. Let us start with Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodhi. How are you, sir? Can you listen us properly?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, sir. First of all, let me give a brief introduction about you. General Naeem Khalid Lodhi was commissioned in 1974 and joined Corps of Engineers in Pakistan Army, served in various command assignments as Commander, Engineer, GOC and Corps Commander. Also served in a staff as Deputy Engineer and Chief and Director General Staff duties in GHQ. After graduating from Military College of Engineering, Command and Staff College, Quetta and National Defence University, remained on the faculty in all three prestigious institutions, also holds master degree in international relations, attended finance related short courses at Columbia University, United States of America and INSEAD, France, served as Secretary Defense for a short tenure and later served as a successful CEO and Managing Director of a leading corporate organization, was also appointed as Defense Minister in an interim setup. He is presently a freelance writer and an eminent defense analyst. Professor Zaman, we have got a very distinguished panelist who is also expert on international relations. I believe if you throw the questions for General Lodhi, that would be different for our show today. Sir.
Would you like me?
Yes, sir. I would like to have your questions for General Lodhi first.
Okay, fine. It's good to know you, General Lodhi. Assalamu alaikum. Maybe I should say a few words about myself. I belong to the batch which had its education at the East Pakistan Cadet College, and my batchmates were commissioned from the Pakistan Army in the 47th PMA long course. They have retired some time ago. We are all in our early 70s now. I had a chance to get my graduation from Monterey, California, where I did my master's in mid-70s in international relations.
So there are two international relations specialists. General Lodhi, I would like to take the opportunity to make the first question to you. General Lodhi, how would you assess the current state of India-Pakistan relations, particularly in light of border skirmishes and diplomatic disarrangements? Is there any window for de-escalation of recent conflicts we have seen in 4 days war, and post-war diplomacy is still paused between the two countries? General Lodhi.
Thank you very much. I mean, I do not have to go in the background of this conflict. You know that there was a terror attack and they pointed fingers at us without giving any evidence. And later on, without convincing the international community, they even attacked us. The 4-day war, I do not call it a skirmish because it was quite an intense war for 4 days. And naturally, once they attacked, so the deterrence was finished. Naturally, whenever any side attacks, the deterrence goes. But we were able to reestablish the deterrence in this 4-day war. In the first 2 days, it was deterrence by denial. Whatever they wanted to do, they could not do. And in the last day, it was deterrence by punishment. We told them that if you try it again, we will punish you. We punish you this time, we'll punish you next time also. Unfortunately, although there was a superpower, America, who actually brokered this peace, but the Indians renegade immediately. They are saying that, no, we didn't ask for it. And they also say that Operation Sindoor is ongoing. It is not finished. It is just paused. I would say it is not even paused because indirectly they are still attacking us. In Balochistan, they are spilling our blood through BLA, Balochistan Liberation Army, and through Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan. So they are carrying out their war. In fact, I'm telling my leadership that do not expect a conventional war very soon, because they have got a very deep cut. They will take some time to really come for us again. But we must try to forge some response to whatever they are doing now. I would suggest, if they listen to us, that two nuclear powers, they cannot actually get their things resolved through wars, because there's a deterrent sort of thing. Even this war was limited because there was a overhang of nuclear deterrence. So my suggestion is, I don't know whether they listen to it or not. Let us talk, because ultimately we'll have to talk. You have tried two, three times. Every time you have failed. So if you try next time again, you will fail. So why to do that? So let us talk, and I would like that the mutual friends, if there are any, between India and Pakistan, they should also go on this advice. What I am saying, although it looks difficult.
All right, sir.
Let me just-
As you raised the question about talk, I would like to come to Professor Shahiduzzaman, very distinguished international affairs specialist, sir. With both countries being nuclear powers, do you believe there are sufficient back-channel communication machineries to avoid escalation in times of crisis? And if you have any other addition, you can, sir.
Well, it will all depend on the nature of conflict. As the general had rightly pointed out, the deterrent factor had worked very well to prevent escalatory pressures. But I would like to compliment the Pakistani air power for the way they managed to downgrade the capabilities of the so-called superior Rafale fighter jets. The Indians had not anticipated that the Pakistani air power would really focus on dismissing the, forcing out from the sky the Indian aircraft from a distance of maybe around 200 kilometers. And this encounters between the two countries have made dogfights look obsolete. You could just get rid of enemy aircraft with superior support from the intelligence that Pakistan received with Chinese support. Now, the myth of Indian superiority is broken. It has brought about such a huge qualitative change in India-Pakistan's defense configuration. As the general had said, the deterrent aspect of this Indo-Pakistani nuclear relationship requires that the two countries should immediately get into a meaningful dialogue. And what really has been extremely damaging over the years has been this Indian categorization of Pakistan as a terrorist country. It is really, it's time for Pakistan to insist that it's India that thrives on state terrorism. The more, and right now the Indian foreign minister has landed in China after quite a long gap, and again he might play the same game of trying to portray Pakistan as terrorist. We in Bangladesh would like to see right now that we have a joint thrust, Pakistan and Bangladesh together, in exposing Indian terrorists' motives. There is one thing that Pakistan really doesn't use as a weapon. It is the fact that it's India which always tries to portray Kashmir as a reality originating in Pakistan. But Pakistan should counter the Indians, saying that, well, what about the northeast where Pakistan has nothing to do? How come the Indians are involved in state terrorism? What about the middle of India where you have the Maoists who for the last 50 years have never accepted Indian state? And it's the Indian government which has been applying state terrorism against this huge belt that goes all the way to Andhra Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the Maoist insurgency. You know, the former Indian Prime Minister had once remarked that it's not Pakistan which is really the problem of terrorism for India. It's actually the Maoist insurgency. This was the Sikh gentleman who served as Indian Prime Minister. So I would like to tell the General that Bangladesh is proud of the way Pakistan has handled this war, very brief war. It wasn't really an all-out war, and we are interested to see that Pakistan, Bangladesh and China set up a common air defense umbrella, which the Chinese are also very interested. This is absolutely crucial for not only Pakistan's future control over this entire regional area where it can project its power, especially even now in the Bay of Bengal. This is also important for our own survival, that Bangladesh should survive as a sovereign state without the fear of constantly being pressured by India to project their intention of, creating this Akhand Bharat, which is ridiculous. And this war, this exchange between India and Pakistan has opened up so much new frontiers to cooperate. I just want to see that we can have a dialogue between India and Pakistan very soon, and this dialogue would lead India to recognize that ultimately connectivity is the key to prosperity, regional prosperity.
Right, sir.
And that
Right, sir.
I would leave it there.
Very well described, very powerful words Professor Shahiduzzaman has used, and he has given a very clear and shortcut line how to start diplomacy. I want to come to our international affairs commentator, but question would be a little bit different as you belong new generation. Sir, what is your view on track channel diplomacy? Track 2 diplomacy is a term in international relations when mainstream diplomacy doesn't work. Track 2 diplomacy and people to people contact could cultural, academic, business exchanges serve as bridges where governments falter or fails to create contacts. What is your view on that?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, I feel very proud to have General Naim Lodhi and Professor Shahiduzzaman on the show. As per your question, how did this escalation, the 4-day escalation, if you would like to call it, how it began? A terrorist attack dubbed in the Indian media, which happened in Pahalgam, and 26 lives were claimed. When the finger was pointed at Pakistan, it said for there to be an independent investigation to the incident so that there could be clarity, as you said, track channels, diplomacy between the two nations. However, before such an investigation could take place, the hostilities had begun. And of course, since we were looking at the Pakistan, Bangladesh, China 3-state triangle dynamics, I would like to add on that Bangladesh has also been influencing talks with China to build an airbase positioned in Lalmonirhat, which is one of the states in North Bengal. Of course, it is a defunct old World War II airbase there, and it would have a 4-kilo runway which can be made into future armaments for our country as well.
Very nice. Let us go back to Islamabad again, where General Lodhi is there. We are very proud to have you, sir, once again. Many believe the Kashmir dispute remains at the core of tensions. From a military and a strategic standpoint, how do you think this issue can be addressed without recurring to conflict in near future or in future, General Lodhi?
Thank you very much. First, if you allow, I'll just say a few sentences about what Honorable Professor alluded to about the Bangladesh-Pakistan relations and the Chinese effect of the triangle. And the younger brother was also talking about. You see, Bangladesh and Pakistan, in my perception, are two brothers living in different homes. That is it. And who made Pakistan? Who was Nawab Salimullah, the founder of All India Muslim League? And who was Maulvi Fadlul Haq, who presented the Pakistan resolution? And who was Khaja Nazimuddin, the second Governor General and second Prime Minister of Pakistan? And we also know Hussain Shaheed Sorwardi. So we are brothers. We just, there was a little bit of, you can say, anger because of some right reasons. I would say people living in Bangladesh whatever they thought, they were right in thinking if they were not being treated properly. But now that we understand each other, that somebody else was actually exploiting all this, so now we can talk just real like brothers. And I'm so happy that both the professor and my brother, they have talked about the cooperation, the triangle between China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and it is going to happen, inshallah.
All
So
right.
you talk about Kashmir.
All right, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So Kashmir, we all know, and you are very well aware of it. Honorable professor, because he's close to my age, so he knows very well also that it was an unfinished agenda of the partition, and probably Britishers deliberately left it so that they can exploit this thing again and again, and keep the two countries at bay in their own hands, so that they can control them and all that. So, but this is for the leadership of India and Pakistan to understand that Kashmir is not a problem of territory. It is the people's issue, the people of Kashmir, and UN resolutions, they have given this right to the Kashmiri people of self determination, that they will decide where they want to go and which country they want to join. And now Kashmir is not only a trilateral issue that between Pakistan, India, and the Kashmiris. It is now a quadrilateral issue. China also has a problem with India as far as the Kashmir is concerned. So any future war on Kashmir, it will not only be India and Pakistan. The Kashmiris will be there. The Chinese might be there, and we also have brothers like Turkey and Saudi Arabia and things. So I think India should think 100 times before undertaking any further adventures in Pakistan. And I think, as it was asked, it was suggested that yes, Bangladesh and Pakistan should come closer. They should have more political interaction, more diplomatic interaction, more economic interaction, and more military interaction. And we can exchange people to people, groups, student. We can have student exchanges and all that, and let us revive that old brotherhood, which is not old, which is which has been throughout, but now that is come to the fore. So let us take advantage. Both countries must get closer, and it is if it was only Pakistan's fault, then India shouldn't have any problem with Sri Lanka, with Nepal, with Bhutan, with Maldives, with Bangladesh. If they are having problems with everyone, so that brings up very clearly that they are the problem and not the all the neighbors cannot be problem. So I agree with both my friend that we need to think more on it. We need to plan collectively. And this thing I can assure you that inshallah, if India undertakes another mischief, this time they will get even more bloodier nose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very
This is
positive
what we have
vibe.
planned.
Very positive vibe we have got from you, sir. I must come to Professor Shahiduzzaman. He is a very vocal on this particular issue, and SARC as well. Sir, SARC has largely remained dormant, especially due to India-Pakistan differences. What, in your view, are the structural and political obstacles preventing its survival? This is one question. Another thing, if you have anything add with General Lodhi.
Fine, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the General's views regarding the prospects for greater cooperation. This is the right time, and as the General had said, we have to set the past aside, and now it's really time that Pakistan and Bangladesh come closer in terms of military cooperation as well as economic cooperation. The military aspect of it has far more to do. There is a great deal of applicability for Pakistan's very fine military capability that has even been appreciated by President Trump, of all people. The way the Pakistani army is trained and is professionally so sound, that the training needs to be imparted in Bangladesh. We need to have some sort of a doctrinal command structure from the Pakistan side, so in order to retrace the strategic knowledge of our senior officers. In the last 15 years, most of our army senior officers have been greatly restrained because of the Indian penetration caused by the Awami League government. Now we have to totally restructure the thinking process, the military thinking process of our senior military officers. There was a possibility that we will have strategic experts from the doctrine in our doctrinal command located in Mymensingh, where we will be upgraded, our officers will be upgraded in terms of countering the Indian threat in this part of the region. These are of course possibilities. I also look forward to the fact that if we can further promote, it's high time, the idea of a nuclear umbrella. This has been felt during the last war, Indo-Pakistani war. The Indians were threatening Bangladesh fiercely, especially after one of our retired generals had indicated about our need to put our eyes towards the Indian northeast. If India tried to attack Pakistan, there was a sharp response from the Indians. They thought of territorially grabbing parts of our territory in the north and the south. That is why we need a lot of planning. That is why we need the nuclear deterrent in Bangladesh, and that is an area where on which we will work in the near future. We will overcome the restraints that somehow inhibit the cooperation in greater depth. Now, as for the SAARC process, this is something so close to my heart. In recent years, the Indians have betrayed us on the question of preserving SAARC. They were almost trying to bury SAARC, but lately, after the war experience, the Indians realized that Bangladesh, Pakistan and the other smaller SAARC members are interested to have China involved in a greater new concept of SAARC. The Indians have been so badly panicked. The Indians are now talking of reviving SAARC. Now, so we have to rethink that whether there is any sense in getting India involved in a new SAARC process. I think Pakistan and Bangladesh should try very hard to have China initiate a new regional cooperation body. And if the SAARC has to be restored, the Indians have to make a promise that they will never ever try their old pranks, their old mischiefs, because once the SAARC is revived, the fondest thing that I think of is a train link, you know, between Dhaka and Lahore. We will call it the Anarkali Express. You know, there in India, there are train routes that go from Dibrugarh in northeast India all the way to Jaisalmer, I think Bikaner in India, from Lalgarh to Assam in Bikaner. That train distance is 4 days long, but if we have a train between Dhaka and Lahore, it would be only 2.5 days. It's feasible and the railway track is there. So when we think of SAARC, if next time the Indians want to get into SAARC, and I'm sure they'll try, because the Indian Foreign Minister is in China and he is going to try to probe into the idea of China getting into SAARC. So we will tell the Indians, and Pakistan will also do so, that India must allow a land connectivity between Bangladesh and Pakistan, between Dhaka and Lahore, so that our people and Pakistani brothers can travel cheaper and visit each other's country. We don't even have direct flights. You know, it has been stopped. The Indians are threatening to keep the flights away. They can't do that. So we need to hurry up and introduce air flights between Dhaka and Lahore. If the Indians want to join SAARC and want to have anything to do with the SAARC, this should be set as a precondition, that they will never ever try to stop direct land and air connectivity between Pakistan and Bangladesh.
Very well said, sir. Very avenues you have opened today in our discussion. I want to come to our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. My question would be, according to Professor Shahiduzzaman and according to General Lodhi, I find a different idea that given the shifting geopolitical landscape, do you think regional groupings like SAARC can still be relevant, or in South Asia moving toward alternative alliances such as BIMSTEC or the SCO?
The SEO you mentioned, let me also bring into everyone's attention that one cannot ignore the giant of Asia. We know it as the People's Republic of China. So let's look at the Chinese dominance in our region. You see, China has the Belt and Road Initiative. It's creating multi-country highways so that trade and other economic benefits can be reaped by the participating nations. Given that we now see India's position in our region as well, we have Pakistan, China and Bangladesh trying to get into a new kind of geopolitical cooperation. Of course, this will definitely benefit not only us as a nation, also Pakistan. It will also add on to the profile of the Chinese investments in our region. If you look several years, just a few years ago, we've seen India and China sharing some border skirmishes with the PLA army in effect, and multiple times the PM of India has visited the places close to such an escalation. So my comment on the factor would be that China definitely has interest in the region, and it's not only SAARC countries or the BIMSTEC nations. China also has influence over Southeast Asian nations as well. And given the tariff attack by Donald Trump, China sees only more reason to be strengthening regional ties in our bloc as well.
Thank you very much. I have a question to General Lodhi. How can smaller SAARC countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Nepal play a constructive role in bridging divides between India and Pakistan within the regional forum, because the South Asian smaller countries has to be aligned in one point, that a big country like India's dominance is literally blocking the development of other countries and relationships in between the countries. General Lodhi from Pakistan.
Yes, and first of all, I appreciate the idea of collective military strategy. I think that will work very well, because the two countries are enveloping India from two sides. So if India knows that they have some common strategic interest and they have some cooperation, coordination in the military field, they will not pick up the courage to either touch Bangladesh or Pakistan. That would be a very potent thing to do. And I think our leadership must be thinking, both the countries must be thinking on those lines. As far as the countries around India and SAARC, I think if these countries are they combine their powers, economic powers and political powers, India will automatically fall in line, because it only happens that if India can deal with us one by one and separately and singly, like with Bangladesh, with Nepal, with Pakistan, with Sri Lanka, then probably they can exploit our weaknesses. Otherwise, the moment we get together, they will definitely, as the professor was saying, they will definitely come back running to SAARC, and they will try to be a part of it. Because if we can make our own some organization, we are part of SEO. We can those who are out, they can become part of SEO. And as I said, China is a big giant. We all know it. So under the you can say umbrella of China, any organization. And Chinese concept, we all know, is of shared prosperity. They do not bully the countries. They have not done so. We haven't seen that. Unlike some other big countries. So it is for us, for the leadership of the smaller countries or the peripheral countries around India, to get together, have some round table in any one capital, and I think the SAARC will automatically be revived, because it will put such a pressure on India. They will not be able to remain out of it. But it was a very good idea that if China and the rest of the SAARC countries, less India, they make some organization, even that will send shivers as far as India is concerned. So politically, diplomatically, economically, and militarily, all these countries around India, they have stakes, and if they combine their efforts, I think the entire region will become more peaceful, because the balance will be not it will not be in favor of India anymore. So I'm of the view, yes, We should combine our four efforts, and also we should have strong relations with China. And yes, this is a very potent idea that Pakistan and Bangladesh, being otherwise brothers, should go for the strongest possible strategic ties.
General Naeem Khalid Lodi from Islamabad, I really appreciate your thought-provoking remarks between SAARC issues and relations between Bangladesh and Pakistan. I just want to come back to Professor Shahidul Zaman. He's very well respected personality in the country. Sir, do you believe historical narratives still overshadow the potential for a forward-looking Pakistan-Bangladesh relationship? If so, how can those narratives can be reconciled diplomatically, academically, people-to-people contact, cultural exchange? What is your comment on that? You are very experienced on that.
Yeah, you're right. This is of course a very pertinent question, and it's extremely useful. I don't see any problem on the question of historical narrative serving as any impediment. In fact, the younger generation, the present generation, they look at history more in terms of creative terms. We are reconstructing our own history, as the general had said. You know, we see our past going back to the 13th century, the Sultanate of Bengal, and then during the British period, how Bengali Muslims sacrificed their lives far more than the Hindus to free ourselves from the British yoke. We know of all these Muslims, Bengalis, who died in the 1857 war of independence against the British, and during the period that followed, our history has been full of achievements to fight in the Khilafat movement, in the movements that occurred. The British tried to write away the role of Bengalis because it was the Bengal cavalry which had marched from Barakpur to free Bahadur Shah Zafar, and the Bengali Muslims were in the forefront. There are names of thousands of Bengali Muslims in the Commonwealth Library who were hanged by the British. The Hindus in this part, when they write history, the narrative, they never include the names of Muslims. I have never heard Hindu historians in Kolkata talking about Titumir or Shariatullah, or even, as the general said, Nawab Salimullah. Even Sarwardi is treated with hate by Indian Hindus, because Sarwardi was the one who thought of Pakistan, because in 1947 it was only in Bengal that the Muslim League had won, and it was because of Hossein Said Sarwardi and Shere Bangla Fazlul Haq, as the general said, who had thought of the two-nation theory. We now wholeheartedly believe that we are two different nations. There can never be any Akhand Bharat. We in Pakistan and Bangladesh, we are Muslims and we are a separate nation, and Shere Bangla Fazlul Haq was the one. These are ideas that our younger generations must learn to believe. These are ideas that we will again reunited Pakistan and Bangladesh in terms of solid foundations of friendship. When we recognize the roles of all our forefathers, Muslims, and also, as the general said, the status of Kashmir. We in Bangladesh, every Friday, we pray for Palestinians in the Jummah prayers. We pray for the liberation of the Kashmiri brothers in our Jummah prayers, khutbah. Bengalis all over, Bangladeshi people, right from one corner to the other, believe that the Muslims of this subcontinent need to set up, rebuild their glory. We have a duty to the Muslims of India. So these are some of the aspects of history for which we must narrate to our younger generation. And in this regard, Pakistan and Bangladesh will have to rewrite their textbooks and reunite the themes of Muslim achievement in the subcontinent.
Very well described, just like a huge think tank he has given. so many recommendations how to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, time has come to go for a short break, but when I'll be back, my first question will be to our international affairs commentator on trade between Pakistan and Bangladesh remains significantly unutilized. What are the main policy, logistical and perception barriers you think need to address to unlock this potential? I'll ask this question when I'll be back.
আমেরিকাতে আপনি যদি
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Satv is International Affairs. My name is Rashid Kanchan. My first question after the break would be to our International Affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Panto. As I said, my question is trade between Pakistan and Bangladesh remains significantly unutilized. What are the main policy, logistical or perception barriers you think need addressing to unlock this potential? Because we are brotherly countries, we are Muslim countries, we have historical relationships.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, it's important, and Bangladesh does have a heavy reliance on its partners for ensuring various raw materials in terms of food security. But when you look at the economic ties between Pakistan and Bangladesh, I'll give you the news that we have in the last 10 months. Two of the shipping vessels from Pakistan had arrived in the Chittagong port. It was, of course, a grain delivery to Bangladesh right before Ramadan as well. It included grain and included sugar as well. But that only was the shipping route. We can also expedite air cargo between the two countries given the geographical distance between Karachi and Dhaka. And not only that, commercial airliners between both Bangladesh and Pakistan may choose to have commercial flights between the various cities of the respected countries. And not only that, it would also boost the tourism. Tourism is a plateau where both Bangladesh and Pakistan can focus on. It would, of course, bring cultural changes between the two diversified countries. Of course, there are economic barriers if you look at the currency exchange of Pakistan, Bangladesh's taka as well. Of course, reliance on each other would bring down this disparity in terms of the dollar. And it would be great to see Pakistan's port Gwadar with having further ties with Chittagong port in order to boost trade facilities as well.
Sir, could you please tell us the could sectors like textiles, pharmaceuticals, ICT and food processing become engines of bilateral trade growth if given the right incentives and trade frameworks from G2G agreements?
Well, if you look at Bangladesh, we are quite so strong in the RMG industry, ready-made garments. Our garments are going to almost every continent in the globe, and definitely Pakistan would be benefited if we could have a trade agreement in regards to the textiles that we produce here at home. Not only so, if you look at Pakistan as well and Bangladesh, in the past we've seen various electronics coming out of Pakistan. Back in the day when I was a young child, we used to find Pakistani fans being a very common household item in the Bangladesh household as well. So that signifies the historical element to the part if you look at trade. So definitely there are give and takes between the two nations. We just need to understand how much beneficial this relationship would be in the future.
Sir, I was talking with one journalist yesterday from Karachi. He was saying that, if we see something made in Bangladesh, we buy it joyfully. This gave me a lot of pleasure. I want to come back to Professor Shahiduzzaman again. Sir, you are a very experienced person. My question is, over the past decade, we have seen fluctuations in Pakistan-Bangladesh relationships. I want to repeat the word fluctuations, ups and downs. In your assessment, what are the key factors holding back deeper political and economic engagement between these two countries?
Yeah, that's a
very humble question, sir.
Very sensitive question and very important question too. The fluctuations that had occurred were greatly caused by this Indian puppet government, the Awami League government, which had almost really divorced our ties with Pakistan. Imagine Dhaka University did not have any academic contact with Pakistan universities. Over the last 15 years, we were denied. And the Sheikh Hasina's objective was to completely isolate us. But more than anything else, it was this Indian government, and especially the BJP government, which has been so destructive not only towards Bangladesh-Pakistan's ties. The BJP has alienated its India from all the other countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka. None of these countries. Now we see a great change that has occurred. The fluctuations had now gone through the worst phase, and now we have reawakened. Suddenly there is, after the last 15 years, there is a great deal of realization among our Bangladeshi Bengalis that Pakistan is absolutely critical to our own survival and existence. We both need each other very badly. The distancing that had occurred because of the Awami League has been a blessing in disguise. It has brought us together psychologically. You see, even our younger Pakistanis visiting Bangladesh, they spend 1,30,000 taka to travel all the way from Dubai and Sharjah to Dhaka. There are no direct, and I see videos of Pakistani younger generation visiting all the towns, cities, villages, buying a bike and touring all over Bangladesh, and there is so much of goodwill among the people here, and they embrace each other. Is the same thing happening in Pakistan too? Bengali young generation, they have a great deal of recognition for the fact that Pakistan and Bangladesh, we feel totally relaxed with each other. They travel in Pakistani autos. The auto driver wouldn't even take the fee, the money. Even young Bangladeshis going in the Pakistani Pakhtunkhwa, there are these Pathan brothers. Even in Lahore, you go and have some food, Pakistani food, and the hotel owner would refuse to take the payments.
Right.
This is the type of amazing shift of relationship. Now, these fluctuations will have to be materialized. There has to be more focus. I have to point out this, that the Pakistani embassy in Dhaka, High Commission in Dhaka, is very active in trying to promote cultural and sports ties. But then there has got to be more intellectual contact. Unfortunately, if you look at a drawback that needs to be recovered, is the fact that Pakistani diplomacy in Dhaka is much focused on the government to government relationship. There has to be more focus on scholarly dimensions.
Right.
People from the academic world, they need to be. This was the case in the earlier 80s and 90s. But now suddenly, because of the gap of 15 years, there has been hasn't been the type of attachment that should have happened in terms of scholarly. I'm sure things will get better in Bangladesh. I'm sure we are going towards a democratic structure, and the sooner we have democracy, the more likely it is that an elected government would have more leeway in developing more people-to-people contact.
Right.
This is absolutely essential.
Essential. This is
contact.
absolutely essential. Professor Shahiduzzaman, from his vast knowledge, experience on political diplomacy, trade diplomacy, tourism diplomacy, he's clearly said this is very much needed. I want to add one question to our international affairs commentator. As a young generation who has never seen Pakistan, who has never visited Pakistan, but when Pakistan India plays, you see, we see the young generation supports Pakistan team. I want to go to you first, because General Lodi is on the line. There have been calls from civil society and business communities in both countries to open more consulates, even city-wise consulates, enhance connectivity and expand cooperation. What is your take on how viable this is in the next or near future, because communication is a factor, sir?
In the matter where you said how viable it is, definitely before in the show we said that two nuclear neighbors, India and Pakistan, I would believe Bangladesh to become the third nuclear power in this region as well. It would definitely add on to the fact that we share a 4,000 kilometer border with India as well. And if we would become the third nuclear power, I'm pretty sure Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, everyone else would also take us as to their notice.
I still can remember a few months back, one video has got so much of viral nationally, internationally, and that comment was a very comment from Professor Shahiduzzaman. He first proposed that Bangladesh should move into nuclear nation, Bangladesh should start nuclear. This is a huge question. I want to come to General Lodhi from Pakistan. Sir, as a former military strategist and policy maker, what would you be your blueprint for South Asian peace and prosperity in the next decade, especially involving India, Pakistan and Bangladesh?
First of all, I would like to just respond to one of your comments, I think, which was you talked about the historical narrative or historical baggage. I think history supports the closer relationship between Bangladesh and Pakistan, for the simple reason, as I said earlier, that it was our Bengali brothers who actually made the dream of Pakistan come true. And we know that, as I said, that the All India Muslim League was created by our Bengali brothers. The resolution of Pakistan was presented by Maulvi Fazlul Haq. So we have a very good, we can say, past, and the narratives are good and positive in both our cases. Now, as far as you have asked about that, how we can have peace in this region, it is very simple. Whenever you have a hegemon or you have a bully in the region, the only way to create peace is to have a counterweight strategy against him or against that one country, so that they don't they stop thinking of aggression against the smaller neighbors and all that. And I think this idea of, as we were been talking about earlier, acquisition of nuclear weapons by Bangladesh, I think you should learn lessons, and the whole world is learning lesson from whatever happened in Ukraine and whatever happened in Iran. So naturally, all the self-respecting countries would like to remain secure, and the only way to be secure is to be ready for war. So I think even if Bangladesh can take some time as far as nuclear weapons are concerned, although that is a policy of your country itself, or whatever they decide. But as long as Pakistan and Bangladesh, they have strong strategic relations between the two armies and between the two governments and the people, especially the peoples of the two countries, I think we will become such a strong problem for India that they will both Bangladesh and Pakistan will be at peace, at ease. So the only way to deter India is to be ready for war all the time. That is my experience. That is what we have experienced.
Right,
so I
sir.
would also suggest to my Bangladesh brothers, yes.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you very much. My last question, because we are running out of time. Finally, General Lodhi, if you have the opportunity to advise both Pakistani and Indian relationship or Bangladesh relationship today, what would your message to be on resolving long-standing hostilities in favor of regional stability and developing relationships with Bangladesh? I would love to request you for a short answer, sir.
You know, right. For my Bangladesh, brothers, the only message is, and I think you are also expressing the same sentiments, do not get late in, forging economic relations, political relations, and military relations. Do it immediately. You don't have to wait because there's no impediment. And for Indians, I would say that peace is the only good future for this region. You cannot bully your neighbors. You have tried it. You have failed. So now try the other track, which is the track of cooperation, track of coordination. And I think that can bring peace in the entire region.
Sir, thank you very much. Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodhi from Pakistan, very distinguished panelist, and for your very valuable comments on this show has made us really proud. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you very much for joining with us. Sir, we are running out of time, but without asking you a question, I don't want to conclude the show. Do you see scope of defense, disaster response or emergency cooperation between Pakistan and Bangladesh under bilateral or multilateral frameworks? Because time has come to be united to protect ourselves from a big enemy.
Exactly. This is absolutely, now the iron is hot. We have seen the nature of BJP. The BJP is dangerous and they are backed by the RSS. The RSS believes in bifurcating Bangladesh. They want to break up Pakistan's Baluchistan. It has never happened before in the history of India-Pakistan-Bangladesh relations that after the Congress government had gone, the Indians, this BJP has shown its real teeth. Unless the BJP government is kicked out, the Indians have to do it themselves. We do not see any normal trust and faith in India. That's why it's absolutely vital, as the General rightly said, we cannot delay. Pakistan-Bangladesh relations must come very close immediately. We must have, direct military contact. Pakistan Army and Bangladesh Army must, cooperate with each other, visit each other, train each other, and, and we will gain out of Pakistan's new image as a foremost military power with this high level of efficiency. Right. I only pray to God that Pakistan maintains its quality, does not, compromise on quality. It must continue to preserve its superior air power, its nuclear capability, and maintain the deterrent structure. Right now, the international situation is such that Pakistan's image has shot up. Yes, Pakistan is no longer treated by the Indian propaganda in a hostile. President Trump has in fact exposed the Indian leadership.
Right, sir. I really appreciate my today's distinguished panelists. They converted information into knowledge into wisdom. They has shown us many avenues for near future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sharif.